Hey, this is Lucia aka Živa, and you're listening to Serial Music Talks, a podcast where I sit down with niche musicians and sound artists based in Melbourne to talk about the real challenges we face in the industry, from creative process and identity, burnout, social media dread, and the question of whether it's even possible to be a full-time artist in Melbourne. In this 2026 season, I'm also spotlighting venues across Melbourne that are run by local musicians and enthusiasts and that actively support the local scene. Just last week, I met up with Mladen Milinkovic, aka Lalic, a Melbourne-based artist and a band that began as Milinkovic Adolescent's bedroom project. But now, 9 albums later, Serbian-born Milinkovic has been a key figure in the underground music scene here in Narm. So we sat down to talk how their relationship with music changed over time and how they actually maintain a strong music presence both in Serbia and here in Melbourne. Enjoy. So how are you feeling today?
Good.
Are you nervous in front of the camera?
I got nervous like 30 seconds ago for the first time.
Oh wow, that's not good though, is it? I mean, like, does that mean that I'm getting the I'm giving you the?
No. It's more just this is like going to be, archaeologists are going to look at this in like 500 years. So.
True. We were actually talking about it just a few minutes ago. It wasn't on camera, but I think you said a really interesting thing about, when you look back at your interviews from before, as much as you feel uncomfortable, it is like a archive, it's like a trace in time.
Yeah, big time. And that's the thing that I didn't say before when we were talking was like, because I said I'd look back at those interviews and like I was cringing at moments, but when I walked away from rewatching that interview, I was like, I don't want to try and not be cringe today. Like I still want to record how even though I'm aware that I'm going to change my perspectives for a few years and look back and be like, that was nuts. I was like, I'm not gonna, because I like that progress. I feel like I see, like, as an artist, that's really relevant, like it being a story and a narrative and having every piece rather than like waiting to have like the refined thing.
Yeah, just like it's literally just a moment, period in your life where you did your best to express yourself either in music or like through words. Sometimes it sucks. I mean, like sometimes you look back at it and like, oh, I could have done better, but then at the same time, I mean, that was you at that point. Like,
that's the cultural context.
Exactly.
Kind of thing,
I agree with that process. With like looking at the progress, it is hard, but I think it's really, I don't know, it can be really enriching. Yeah. But by saying that, I mean, you released 9 albums with Lalic. Yeah. And I know that you have some other projects as well. Yeah. But Lalic, 9 albums. And you've started doing this when you were what, 12, 13?
Around there.
So MySpace era.
Yeah. I wasn't allowed to have a MySpace, but then my parents let me make a MySpace for my music account, and that was like this loophole. And then I would do MySpace things just through my,
So how did you? Do you remember? How did you start making? Like, what was the first track, or how?
Yeah, in terms of, I feel like I've talked about. I'll talk about. So the way I started making digital music, or I guess recording music on, because I started playing music. Like I decided I was going to be a musician like pretty early on. Okay. And then it was like year 7, we had a radio class in Audacity. Have you ever used Audacity?
Yes. It looks the same probably.
Yeah, it does. And I just saw in the effects I had the reverse option, and I just like reversed my voice, and I was like, it's just like the White Album, And then I went home and I started recording things on my laptop mic and reversing them, and then so actually the first music I ever made was like music concrete, basically. It was like me trying to rip off like Revolution 9, and
I mean, that means that you already knew, like, did you knew about music concrete at that time?
Like I knew it through the context of so my mum's, like the majority of her kind of like what she passed on to me of her understanding of Western pop music was like the Beatles are the best band in the world. And I don't know much, but she'd always be like, that's about all I know. You know what I mean, kind of thing. So I think I was a really big Beatles fan when I was like early.
+1.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I was huge.
Yeah. And it just, I think being a fan of that just kind of like put in me like, okay, so music and an album from an artist can be anything kind of thing, because it was, you know, like, I mean, how experimental, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, but you know, like it just seems like it's quite mature, especially, you know, we're talking about 2006, 2007, right? MySpace era. It wasn't like music was, you know, there was no Spotify.
Yeah,
so I'm just saying, like, access to different kinds of music, it needed to be from your like immediate contacts.
I didn't have any immediate contacts that had anything to do with anything cool. You know what I mean? Like, I lived in the suburbs, and all the kids in my school had spiky hair and bullied me, and my parents were like, love Trubaci. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, and I had to figure a lot of that stuff out. But at the same time, like, around that time, like 2006, 2008, 2009, was like a really big explosion in online music. Like, I got really into Blogspot, where there was like lots of like music communities there. SoundCloud had just kind of started coming out, and, you know, and also on top of that, like the technology for making music felt like it, you know, like I remember like when Ableton 7 came out, and it was like the biggest fucking deal ever, because suddenly, you know what I mean? Like, or even I remember like year 8, like going into class and like GarageBand for the first. So it's like, I feel like I got a really keen interest in music as a lot of that stuff, it didn't feel like I had to go very far. You know what I mean? Like, I felt exposed to that stuff from being on the internet at a young age.
And then, I mean, you know, in order to release 9 albums, I feel like it says a lot about, I mean, I have so many questions around it.
It should be like 17, honestly, if I had my shit together. But anyway.
But I mean, you know, okay, let me. No, you're fine. It's just like my questions are always like, bum, bum.
Yeah. Those are good questions.
I guess the first thing is like, you know, it takes a lot of determination.
Yeah.
To release those albums.
Yeah, I have a lot of.
Maybe let's start with determination.
Yeah, please.
You said that you have a lot of it. Like, so I guess, is it just something that you know, you can't not do, or you feel pressure to do? How does that drive? Well, like, where's that pace coming from?
I mean, I love my life since I've broken out of that pressure and broken out of that drive, and I don't have that the same way I did for most of my life.
Okay.
And it's like amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I have healthy friendships in my life. I have hobbies. I do things other, you know, like, it was, for a long time, it was like the only thing. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't go out, because if I heard a song, I'd get an idea and I'd run home. And I think that I never really formed a super healthy relationship with that whole system of motivation and drive, you know? And I think a lot of that honestly just came from, like, I'm a lot of immigrants will definited, and people who came here as children, it's like the whole vibe in my house as I was growing up was like, we fucked up our whole lives basically to bring you here. You know what I mean? Like, we've lost everything that is important to us because we value your future, and we didn't want you to grow up in this broken system, and we brought you here, and we think you're really smart. Both my parents were literal geniuses as well, right? So there was just this massive thing of like, my ancestral line and everything is coming down to like, what am I going to do in Australia? And that really drove me crazy as a kid. And then when I decided that I was going to be a musician, it kind of like closed that door. Like, I never thought about that ever again. I was like, okay, I'm an artist and that's what I'm going to do, kind of thing. And then it became like, I need to justify wagging school. I need to justify dropping out of school. I need to justify not going to uni. I need to justify, you know, like, a lot of that was a lot of the drive, honestly, was just like, and not just to my family, like, I mean, and then you could talk about like the system of what values, you know, like of labor and stuff like that, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, sorry, I answered that really long.
No, that's I mean, I resonate with that a lot, because there's this just pressure to prove yourself constantly. Yeah. I mean, and not necessarily that someone, you know, to your parents, or it's just exactly, like it's just there. Yeah. It's just like you have to push as much as you can. Because when I also like listen to your albums, and I'm not saying that it's like obvious in your music, like per se, but it does feel like there's so much different genres happening, which I mean it's incredible. It's really good. From early on, I mean, you go from something that's obviously post-punk to something that's more R&B or even like Italian synthwave. Yeah. Then like there's moments where you can literally see that the band dynamic, although there's no band, like the band dynamic is at the foreground, but then in some instances like Twilight Princess, the latest one, was more vocal, more even personal and intimate.
Yeah, definitely was.
But there's like a certain chaos.
Yeah.
And then you have that album. It says, I wrote it down because I couldn't. This is maybe not. Yeah, I do not deserve this catharsis.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, yeah, what does that mean? I mean, yeah, am I right in thinking that there was a lot of chaos?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like there was chaos because I was a very chaotic person. I'd had like kind of like a chaotic life, but then also I kind of like, how can I say this? There's something like, I think ephemeral maybe is the word about chaos, where it's kind of like high possibilities or something. You know what I mean? Like I felt like, or like even like my mode of like making art for all of those years was like, this is like people say that like kind of conduit thing, but it would be like I would rock up to the studio and just like humble myself before the court and see what would happen. You know what I mean? And I kind of wouldn't say no to anything that would come, and I don't know, like I didn't have any kind of rails of what I wanted to necessarily do, or I guess it was be kind of like, also like a lot of my process is very like, I'll improvise a lot at home and then I'll go back and review the improvisation and be like, that was a cool idea. So like sometimes a really random idea would just like pop out of a session and I would become hyper focused on it, and I'll be like, I'm making like a post-punk metal album, and then I'll go down that road. But at the same time, I'm always was working on like 3 or 4 different things at a time. So then it was like you would get burnt out on one and pick up the other and kind of rotate like that, you know? But I was just saying the chaos is like really helped my process because it, just leaves a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, there's some crazy potential in that chaos. Yeah, I think I can. I mean, not that I can hear it. It's more just when I look at the opus of your work. I think I have to repark my car.
Oh, really? That's cool.
You know, you're pretty out there in the open with your music.
Yeah, big time.
Do you ever second guess yourself?
I mean, oh yeah, absolutely, for sure. But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like, I really don't think I don't put that much of me in it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel, and like the thing I said before, I feel like I change a lot and very quickly. It's like, by the time I finish an album, it's like, it's more something I'm in awe of than something I'm proud of. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel detached from it. I couldn't do it again. And I look at it and I'm like, that's amazing that exists. I don't know, like it doesn't feel like I'm like, I feel, okay, actually, like now I'm terrified to make a release, honestly.
Why?
Because, okay, so, and this is kind of silly, right? But it's like, and maybe this is just in my head, but it feels like there's like, now this, I think also because I slowed down, like I stopped releasing albums every year and I stopped after COVID. Basically COVID happened and I put my hands up and I said, no one's going to blame me for just like,
not doing,
just chill, just not doing it, whatever.
But I also heard, you say on one of the interviews on a college radio that you actually thought you lost an album that you were working on, which was in fact Twilight Princess.
No, it wasn't even Twilight Princess. It was Born Under a Scorpio Moon.
Ah, okay.
Which isn't finished yet.
Yeah, okay, because it happened after the postmortem.
Yeah. because like it was.
And then you were like, oh, like I'm out.
Yeah, it was this beautiful moment where I was like, no one can blame me. I'm not doing that again. Like, I mean, it was also when I tell that story, I'm like, hey, no one can blame me. It was very depressing. Obviously, it was very,
Like, just imagine losing your worth.
Yeah.
Even if you hated it, you'd be like, oh no.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I just think it was the immediate release after that happened for me of just like, it was just so cathartic, and I was going through a bunch of, like, it was well timed, I guess, for what the stuff I was going through at the time.
So, I mean, okay, again, a lot of questions. I'm trying to keep, I guess the first thing that what you just mentioned is, so I guess the change happened during COVID.
Yeah.
Before that, you were having this really almost unhealthy relationship, you would say, with music that you were doing, or everything that you were doing?
I don't think, I mean, I guess also like before COVID, like I was between 20 and 25. Like I think those are meant to be kind of chaotic, crazy years, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And then also just like having this, what felt like, I think like a lot of people feel like this, where it's like, if I stop now, what were the last like X years for? It was like that feeling, you know. It was like you've built this kind of thing, and also kind of like I feel like at that time I definitely like, I think the second guessing thing, right? To go back like an early work, I would like release an album, and it's kind of like whatever I felt like wasn't good enough or finished, or that I wasn't happy with that album, was kind of like juice for the next album.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, cool, I've got somewhere to go, you know? Part of why I stopped making music, honestly, is I think I got really good at mixing. And I didn't care as much, you know what I mean? It wasn't the same kind of like you're in the lab and you're making these progressions and it's like this dopamine kind of thing, you know what I mean? When I got to the point where I was like, I kind of know what I'm doing. I don't know. Yeah, but I feel like that kind of like made it boring.
But you did also mention that you get bored pretty quickly.
Yeah, I do get bored very quickly.
So that's also one part of the equation.
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
having so many. So when you realize, because you also mentioned in one of the interviews that at one point you figure out that you don't have to know more, and that sort of changed your approach. I guess it's also the mixing part of it. When you're mixing the album, just getting more confident about the knowledge that you have already.
Yeah.
Rather.
I feel like it's like you have that gap between the record you want to make and the record you're able to make, and you kind of feel like you're like doing these things to like get closer to that moment. And then I think again there's so many different factors that led to that moment.
I know. Sorry if we went into, if I took you down the rabbit hole.
No, you're doing great. This is awesome.
I'm just genuinely curious to try to unravel, your approach, because it seems so easy when when I look at your opus, it's like, wow, 9 albums. There's that's amazing, because it feels like you just sit down and you do it. I'm not diminishing the fact that you struggled probably a lot.
Yeah.
But just, it feels like there's not much friction to releasing the album.
Yeah.
Often, I would say that's rare in comparison to often artists with whom I spoke to, my friends. All my friends, they all struggle with finishing or actually releasing. Yeah. And I feel like you don't share that struggle necessarily, at least from what.
But at the same time, my albums all come out like 85% finished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like there's a trade-off there. And that, like.
I would argue, I would challenge that. 85% finished. That's you saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I've listened to them. I wouldn't say that.
Well, that's the thing. When I listen to them now, I wouldn't change a single thing. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the all you need.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're your own reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also, it's just interesting to hear that while you don't maybe have a problem with releasing it and letting it go, you're still quite intense about it and like very, and I guess what I wanted to ask about this is, my question would be like, is your music personal? Because you just mentioned how you're detached from them, whereas, I don't deserve this catharsis feels quite personal.
Yeah. I mean, they're all like deeply personal in that way, but it's like personal to like what? Do you know what I mean? Like personal to who? Personal to me now, personal to me at that point, personal to maybe like something I was projecting, you know, because then it's like, even in the moment when you're like being personal, it's like really you have who you are, you have who people think you are, you have who you think you are. These are all different things, you know what I mean? And then it's kind of like when all those lines start getting blurred, it kind of like, I think it's definitely like, I'm always like, when I'm making songs, they mean something, you know, to me. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you live a few times. And it's visible on your face.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not even, I wouldn't say that, you know, something to be personal, it needs to be like a specific situation that you know, or like specific.
Yeah.
Right? I think it can even be just, just expressing the physicality, or like just putting the moment on.
Yeah, totally.
Because that's piece of you, right?
Yeah, totally.
Then like exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we have all these performances of ourselves, performances of identities and whatnot.
I think also just like when I make an album or a song, it's like it's so triangulated through culture and history of music. You know what I mean? And where I see myself and where I see the future of music and the history of pop music, to the extent where it's like it's kind of like inherently personal, and then it's kind of like it really is defined by environment, I think, a lot as well.
And do you like the environment where you're making music right now?
Like, say, like the...
I do. I mean, let's point, like, we're in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Like, is this a good environment? Did it change over time?
Oh, Melbourne's been changing non-stop for the last 20 years, you know, and the last few years have been really, really healthy. I mean, you've seen it, you've been a part of it, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of people who have been around this city for a long time know that that's actually quite special and quite rare for everything to kind of line up like that. And even now, like, if I'm being honest, it feels like we're maybe coming out of that period, like everyone's kind of slowing down a little, you know what I mean? Like, I think about the last 2 years. Remember last year, it was like there was all these, every week there was everyone together, all these different shows, and you had these like 30 bands that you could link together.
Now like that as well. I'm like,
yeah, right. Maybe I'm just chilling out. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But I mean, like it ebbs and flows. What I really like about the scene here in the last few years was, I feel like part of what we did was there was like kind of like this micro industry created, where it was kind of like, instead of all of us trying to like get on Pitchfork or some shit, it's like we wanted to play a cool show in front of 150 of our friends, and that was kind of like the coolest thing you could do. And then you know what I mean? Like,
community.
Yeah, totally. And I think just like accepting that so much. I mean, like the world is changing very quickly, and you know, like Napster was 20 years ago. You know, so like the music industry, that like it has been cooked for so long. And I mean, okay, maybe this is my perception.
But
you know what I mean?
You don't think it's cooked right now as well?
Oh no, I do. Oh my God, absolutely. There's no going back. Like, and what I mean by going back is just like, there's no. I mean, I don't know, because also like I think about this a lot. I think about like when I started playing in bands, and the older musicians were looking at like we were making Facebook events, and they were like, "This is nuts." Do you know what I mean? And we didn't understand that. Maybe now I'm being like hyperbole, but at the same time, like I feel like, because I mix a lot of shows here, and I see a lot of young bands come through, and I'm kind of surprised, because a lot of my older friends are like operating on this kind of like post-apocalyptic almost view of the industry and everything, and you see these young bands that are like
excited.
We're gonna make an EP. You know, we've got a music video coming out on Tuesday. Like, you know, we're like Triple J on Earth.
What
like,
crosses your mind then?
It's like a combination of like, I want to like, I don't know. Part of it is like, I'm glad that you can like have this experience, and at the other hand, I want to say like, oh, like no, this is over. You don't know, like you know.
We sort of don't want to ruin the joy.
Yeah. Which is, you know, I mean, again, a lot of joy has, like, if we're being honest, there's been a lot of joy in this city of the last 20 years of people trying their hardest to make it in the industry and failing. That's still a joyful experience, you know what I mean, kind of thing. I just feel,
But do you, so while we're at it, on your side, of the Lalic side of hip, I guess personal as musician, is there a vision? Like, do you have a goal towards which, you have a dream, I mean, like an end goal?
Like,
or, I don't know.
Like archaeology.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I have no, I have no faith in like the digital landscape of assigning value to art. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's completely busted, doesn't mean anything to me, and there's no real, like, obviously there's beautiful organic stories of bands making it very organically, you know what I mean? And I honestly, like, you know, it gets brought up a lot, but like, I love seeing Tongue Dissolver do what they do, because I know that, like, if it wasn't going like this for them, they'd still be doing it, and B, they're not about to do the things that are going to make them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they talked about it in your interview, and then I know them as people, and you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, what was I saying?
For you don't believe.
Oh yeah,
that, or-
no, I have no interest.
So there's no pressure, I mean, to perform or like to I mean, to I guess conform to any of those paths.
It's not even, I don't even think that's being like anti-conformist or punk. I just think there's no value in doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there's, you know.
I mean, that must feel liberating.
Yeah, I mean, I've been operating under this assumption for a while, and it's been really, I mean, I guess kind of actually from the start almost, you know, because I had people who were in bands in Melbourne in the 90s telling me when I was a kid, like, oh, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about it. And then also, like, we idolized, you know, that kind of like, fuck it ethos kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, so as kids, and yeah.
I mean, that's and I guess, you know, because
And I had a terrible time in the few years that I spent where people were like, oh, hey, like, you know, Lalic started doing well. I started getting fans across the world. People were like, hey, it's, you know, you can do this in the next bit. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I didn't have a good time doing that. Part of it is like, I can't answer emails, but another, you know, there's like, I had a taste of doing that and I didn't like it. And then also I just feel like I have a really nice relationship with my fans over the internet. I have like my relationship to the people around me, and what that, you know, my community here is really important. And that's what I'm really, what's the thing?
I mean, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not a question of is it good or bad. It's more just, I mean, what's, you know, why are you doing, you know, like, this is what you're doing. You should be the one deciding how you want to do it, rather than conforming to the ways of doing it. I think, and I keep repeating this, it was Andy, when we were talking last month. He said, you know, this thing that just, you know, when something...
Was it the rock star thing?
The dream.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I was going to reference that.
I was listening what he's talking, my mind, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
It affected me so much because, you know, we're all aware of it. I'm aware of it. It's more just, it takes time. I feel like you can easily get distracted. From, you know what you're doing, but then you start having these invitations or stuff happening, and then it snowballs. I think it's really cool to be able to like stand your ground and like really recognize, hey, you know, like, I don't like responding to emails, or I don't want to. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to spend not waste. Like, I don't want to spend my time answering emails. Period. And I think that's like, respect. I mean, that's it.
Well, so I got this email in like 2018, 2019 from this company in London called Liberty Music, and that's like a big PR firm.
Yeah, I know them.
Yeah, and so we were in chats because they wanted to like be part of my next album, whatever, and we're talking. And then I didn't understand how the music industry worked basically, but they sent me a PDF that was like, okay, this is the price to get a feature in Pitchfork. This is the price for like Spotify forums. This is the price for NME. This is the price for this radio station, you know? And that, you can go back 15 years, like people were flying up to, do you know who Richard Kingsmill is? Yeah, so people were flying up to Sydney paying thousands of dollars to sit in a room with him and play their CD. You know what I mean? It's like, that's just like a mafia, basically. You know what I mean? And like the geese, the thing that's happening with geese.
Yes, I just said.
You know,
yeah,
it's like this is what music has been forever. I haven't even read it, but I mean, I see what people are saying. You know, like, oh, they paid to become famous. Like, that's what being famous in music is. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
very upsetting.
Yeah.
It is. It's been here. You're totally right. It's been here since ages.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. But with geese, it's like I never would have considered for a second that happened organically. Do you know what I mean? That's like so important. Of course.
It's so interesting because sorry to
yeah. No, you're not.
But I actually was looking at that band when they blew up, and I was like going through their discography, and I was like, oh, like they've been making music since 2015. And 2015 was their first release. And I'm like, okay, it's like 10 years. That's a solid time. I mean, I was still very, very much like skeptical about just the size of the blow up, right?
Yeah.
Because like, let's be real. I mean, that's still niche music. I mean,
no, totally. I'm happy that that's popular.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
agree,
Like, it's a great record. Yeah.
But then, when I read, long story short, in the article, they were saying that it was literally a network of fake social media accounts.
Yeah.
Fake fans blowing up their music. So, and then, I mean, it's very upsetting. I feel like the only way to go forward is to really not take part of that in that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I would pay or I would never pay.
Yeah.
But in a sense that not taking part in Spotify, not taking not taking part in any of those elements.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously being rigged.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But do you think I guess the community is the result where I'm hearing, just doing it for the sake of doing it, which should have always been the goal?
I mean, like, I think the goal should be abstract right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't know what the goal is, and also like I said before, like this is all changing. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like this idea of like holding any kind of system and being like, this is our ideal system, let's move towards this system. That's not the course that human history is taking right now. You know what I mean? Like, and so all I'm saying is kind of like, be on your toes, you know what I mean? Be connected to yourself and people around you, and be ready to change how you think things should be, because
not relying on the system to sort of like take your hand.
Well, just to even, I think even just, I don't want to keep going back to this thing, but it's like, I feel like we as an entire species have been like accustomed to a very different life experience and rate of change, right? And I feel like we're trying to like make sense of the world in that old way, where it's like, how should it be? Where do we want to be in a decade from now? And it's kind of like, I just feel like everything's disintegrating instead. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not upset about it.
Yeah, neither am I.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I agree with you. I think bottom line is to just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
System is pretty much here, comes and goes, it ebbs and flows. If you're gonna continuously change and rely on the outside rather than what's inside, I don't see a scenario where that can, I guess, end up with anything authentic, anything that's worth the archaeology.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think I feel like that can be heard in your music. But you also paint.
Yeah, I've painted.
How is that related to, I mean, have you been painting for a long time?
I go through like a spurt every year, maybe for a few weeks or months. I'll paint for a bit. I feel like I like painting because I don't understand it at all. I don't know art history, and I can just like very cleanly have a very non kind of cognitive practice. You know what I mean?
Because I was curious, what does painting practice, what do you feel? What does it give you? Like, what does it provide you that maybe music cannot provide, or?
I think there's very few art forms that I would be like, I'm not interested in that, and I've dabbled in a bunch of different mediums. I don't know. I love art. I love making art. I just, yeah.
What I wanted to ask, so you've been like traveling, pretty much existing between Serbian music scene, and I guess life in Serbia, but also a Melbourne music scene. So you were born in Serbia. You moved here in 1998,
Yep.
if I remember
Nice.
as well. So you grew up mostly here. But what I told you that like a few weeks ago when we performed together at Grace Darling, how I feel like often migrants have a hard time, especially because you mainly grew up here,
Yeah.
and you started music here, and this is your core base.
Yeah.
But when I look at your profile, when I talk with people back there, they know about you.
Yeah.
And that's quite a challenge because, it's hard to go back and reintegrate. I feel
Yeah.
like, sometimes it takes a while. You seem like you've been doing that quite easily.
I had insane luck, first of all. Well, okay, luck is like, I spent a long time going back to Serbia looking for my people, like finding a community over there. And many years I came back not having found that community, and then I think it was 2021, right after COVID, and I went back, 2022 maybe. I just met the right people, and
yeah, I guess I'm not sure if that can be called luck. Definitely.
No, okay, there's an aspect of luck to it, but there's also like there's something incredibly valuable in that exchange for everyone involved. You know what I mean? Like, it means so much to me, it means so much to them, as a Serbian coming back, but also as like, I spent so much time over there talking about what the culture is like here.
But yeah, because you also organize tours for Australian bands over there, right? Sonder and there. But you also have a band that I've just found out. Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest. I've done my research, but
No, this is underground. This is really underground, yeah.
Because I saw that name. I know about the band, Mitsko Biće, or Mythical, I guess you could...
Mythical Being.
Yeah, Mythical Being, right.
Yeah.
Mitsko Biće. I saw the name, but I didn't know that's your band.
No, that's not my band. Wow. No, so Mitsko Biće is my best friend Jovan's band.
All right.
And me and him are doing like a collaborative duo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very secret. Okay, now I feel better.
No, it's still yeah. Oh, that that would have been crazy. No.
How did I miss that?
No, that would be crazy.
Okay, so yeah, and I mean, I have so many questions. I'm trying to like keep some sort of path, some curve.
Yeah.
But you've done a lot of digital music, and then only like 10 years ago, or maybe even less, you've started actually, or even during COVID, that you started performing live with the band, like with Andy and with the
No,
group.
so that band actually started in 2014.
Oh, okay. So
and finished like 2017 kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I really need to go to the toilet.
Yeah, you go.
I'm just going to the toilet. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
maybe
back.
I got too excited.
Okay. Now you can clap. I think we're red. Yeah, we're red.
What are we talking about?
What we were talking about? That's a good question. We were talking about your bands and like different projects and how you're improvising with Lalic. But yeah, I wanted to ask you more about what do you do when you're not making music? Because sorry.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like it's out of this question. You were talking about how you sort of got out of the chaotic way of doing music, whatever, like not necessarily all negative. And I also heard and read in an interview that you, beforehand, there wouldn't be even a week that you would not do music.
There wouldn't be a day.
Yeah, and
There
like
wouldn't
you
be a
said
day.
that you wouldn't even have any other plans. You would
Yeah.
just like do music.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe the better question to start is like, how did you get out of that?
Out of that.
I mean, out of that ritual of just like doing music all the time,
Yeah.
or just like literally not having hobbies, or I don't know.
Yeah. Look, so one of the transitions was because during COVID, I tried to make a TV show, and that was a very different artistic kind of style to making music every day, and that kind of broke me out of it. I'm also going to give a shout out to video games. I love video games. Play a lot of video games.
I mean, like video games, like in general, video.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, shout out to video.
Yeah.
Yes, I really
Yeah.
like video games. What's your favorite video game?
Probably my favorite video game. I don't know if this is a game called Factorio. I talked about it with Marco.
Yeah, he knows probably.
Yeah. If you've never played
I know,
Factorio,
it's like
don't
an
do it.
engineering
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
So
I-
those kind of games you like.
I've gotten full legendary quality on everything in Space Age and gotten to the edge of the universe. For people that know, that's very impressive. It's very
You'll
impressive.
probably get some new fans.
Maybe.
Just by
maybe.
saying
If
it.
you want to message me about Factorio, there's a chance we could end up being best friends. But also, I'm in rehab. What's it called?
Yeah.
What's it called when you're like not doing something?
Detox?
I'm in
or
detox.
maybe,
So actually, don't message me about Factorio.
okay. Okay. Well, I can see how that can take.
Yeah.
I'm like Stardew Valley,
Yes.
Slay the Spire,
Nice.
This War of Mine.
Yeah.
So I get
Yeah.
there as well.
But it's like that, like, if you told me that I would spend a whole day playing video games in my mid-20s, like, I couldn't even, do you know what I mean? Like, that would be
Isn't that great?
impossible.
Like, I think if I would name another experience rather than music that really gets me into this just like immersion
Yeah.
is actually playing
Yeah.
good video.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
like I don't even have to, it's like better than binging anything.
Yeah. This is the thing, back to the really relevant to music, is like, I am like addicted to flow state, and it's like when part of why I would make music all day was because I would get into that same kind of space, maybe that you were just describing with video games and music, where it just
Flow state.
very immersive and kind of like almost semi-consciously kind of like, kind of thing.
So have you, just on a side question have you ever thought about making music for games?
Yeah, I have.
Right.
I've made games before.
Oh, wow, okay.
I really like coding, and I've made some music for video games, but then also, like, it's not really I feel like as alternative and experimental as my music is, it's all very pop lens,
Yeah.
and I mean pop in sense of like what I'm not good at is like utilitarian music. You know what I mean?
Hello.
Like music that like serves a function. Like so much music, like say for example, like
Sound design? Would that
yeah,
count?
sound design, I guess, but even more like, okay, I'm being a bit more like yeah, I've never done that kind of stuff, but even more like, let's reverse that thought. I
Okay.
can't explain it. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back
Yeah.
to where we were. Playing games was part of the equation of you, like part of the recipe of how to go away from making music at every single moment of your day.
But it was just, I think games were part of the process of me getting my life back from stepping away from that whole thing, and it felt like a victory to me, over those demons to be able to do that.
And I guess why? I guess my question is also like, what did you think that by not making music, what bad is going to happen?
From not making music.
Yeah, like if the urge to not do music, you were trying to resist, right? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
actually had to go do a rehab from music.
I mean, like it's I think a trippy thing for me was definitely like when you've been doing it for so long, I got to the point definitely where I wasn't sure what my value was to people in my life outside of that. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't keep being relevant in that way or making good art, you know what I mean? Like I feel like so much of what was around me was people involved in that and part of that process, and I would meet people through doing that, and I would,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Like your yeah.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I fumbled at the start, which I'm going to cut about the whole Lalic Mladen thing, where it was kind of like why I kind of have never adopted being super comfortable with people calling me Lalic as my name kind of thing, because I feel like I lived that, and I'm really glad to have those two things separated out. Yeah.
I mean, now you've got me wonder, because I feel like I am at that stage where, to be perfectly honest, where a lot of things, I feel like I finally now feel like I belonged here. I feel like I found my people, but I found them for Jiva.
Yeah.
I found, 99% of people that I hang out with are through Jiva.
Yeah.
Should I be worried?
No.
I mean,
No, I think.
no, I'm half joking, joking. But I think I see what you mean, because for me, Jiva is everything.
Yeah.
It's like who I am, what I do. If Jiva is not active, where am I?
Yeah.
I'm not visible anymore.
Yeah.
Which even now saying it out loud, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean.
No, I mean, and that's the crazy feeling of like letting that collapse and then emerging from the smoke as me, you know what I mean, and still being there and being like,
everything is actually okay.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to be on that side. When like it's not bad to let it rest for a little bit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I think it's yeah, big time.
What do you you mentioned a few times like I guess I've read it like accessibility in the community, like the music community, and I guess democratization. That's how I see it. Just like of really like letting go of the system and actually doing this for the community.
Yeah.
How what can you how's the situation in Melbourne right now, and what can I do or anyone else who's in the music to make it a better place like that?
Yeah. It's a really good question. Like, what can you do? I mean,
or at least like what does it mean to you? Like.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have accessible music, or what does it mean to democratize?
I feel like part of it, for me, goes back to like what we're talking about, the albums being 85% finished. It's this thing. Okay, this is kind of like maybe a side point to this question, but I think it's really relevant.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think it's like one roundabout way that happens is by releasing half-finished albums. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like that. What I don't like, what kind of band I don't like to see? I don't like to see a band where they're just like executing and they're just crushing it and they're amazing and they have a beautiful synth and everything's just, and I'm kind of like AI could do that. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not I want to see like someone a little bit broken.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mistakes and vulnerability in your practice and that kind of thing. And I feel like that is part of what's really opened up the door in the last 2 years. I feel like in Melbourne is a lot of people have kind of thrown their hat into the ring and said, I'm going to start a band. And you can tell that people really value that. You know what I mean? That comes from the fact that a lot of people have completely given up on the idea of making it financially or successfully or commercially. And then it's kind of like, okay, so what is really the metric here? You know what I mean? Like, and then I feel like if we're relating to each other for our own music, like climbing to the top of this giant mountain and standing and shouting like I built this shining city is kind of like, unrelatable.
Yeah.
I don't even like using VSTs, honestly.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. I see what you mean. It's like, I definitely see it as something that's more accessible in that sense, where because even I don't know if I'm managing to do that, but like even through this podcast, I mean, I often, I wanna hear, people saying some tough things, like, because I'm confident that am I really the only one struggling with these? So I mean, like, come on. No way.
Yeah.
Because whenever I have a conversation, there are so many struggles, so much errors and like mistakes, and I mean, just a humane approach to it.
Yeah.
And as soon as you feel like someone else is on the same page, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, good. It feels like you can take part in this.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense, and I think that's a good definition. Yeah, just being more open for it and just doing it. Well, so what's next? Next is maybe an album once it's become
Album's gonna come out. New album in Serbia.
a different one, right? With the duo.
Different one. It's a duo. And then I don't know. I kind of have been writing a lot about things more to do with ideas about, geopolitics. You know what I mean? Like I'm a kind of more and really interested in that kind of stuff. Like I want
When you
to.
say writing, you have you said writing?
Yeah. I mean, like writing like words and ideas and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind doing something a bit more like non-fiction, maybe, is what I'm thinking about. But at the same time, like, I want to start a family. You know what I mean? I want to push my business to the point where I can like really support my family in Serbia. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do. And also I just want to like really keep sane in this next like 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, I want to protect my vessel, I guess,
And your vessel is your body, or like your vessel is like...
I think my mind, maybe.
Okay, my mind.
My experience, like, as in, like, what I'm trying to say with that is that it's kind of like, I have art projects that I want to do, right? But, like, I think that, I don't know, I just want to, like, talking about really abstract stuff now. I just want to, like,
I don't think it's abstract.
Yeah.
I think I'm following.
Yeah, I just feel like the idea of me kind of like disappearing into a room and recording an album for months at a time is kind of like not how my life works anymore, and there's this greater context going on in my life and in the world as well, kind of thing. And I feel like I'm saving a lot of my vulnerability and openness and emotional capacity just for that, Yeah.
No, that sounds good.
Because I don't... Sorry, no. What were you going to say?
You go.
I was going to say, I don't know what I think about where popular music is right now, where digital music is right now, where the future is going to be, what's relevant right now. Like, I don't have any kind of steadfast ideas about that to kind of like put myself in a context of, in the same way that I did before, where I felt like part of this like grand tradition and part of this like projecting into the future kind of thing. I'm really interested in what happens. I'm saying a lot of different things right now.
No, but I guess I think quite clear what I'm picking up as to be really clear and strong from everything that you're saying. And yet, tell me if I'm wrong, is that seems like you're very much like determined to stay sane and real, like to sort of
I think it's like the thing that's going to challenge all of us in the next 5 or 10 years, you know what I mean? And I think that it's like, I think it's the most important thing, honestly, because it's, and this is back when we were talking about the system and changing the system and stuff, and I was kind of like, it all feels a bit too chaotic to even think about a system, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, we just need to be like on our feet and ready for all the changes that are coming.
Yeah, and what would you say? I mean, I guess you said it. Like, that's what you need right now. One of the questions that I always ask is, what was the best advice that you have been given?
Yeah.
But I also feel now you actually gave a really good advice. But I'm curious still.
Easily, the best advice that I was given as an artist, I can trace it and say it was this. It was Cozy Pay from Jala and Mangelwurzel, who was my girlfriend at the time when I was 19. And she basically told me the thing that I said before, which was like, you should just release your work broken and move on. You know, like, don't be a perfectionist. Like, people want to see that. And I really took that to heart. And I don't know if I'd be 9 albums deep without that advice. And I love passing that advice on to people, you know?
Yeah, it's a great advice.
I think it's really good advice, you know? And I think it's what art's meant to be, you know? And I think that AI is going to free us, right? Because it's kind of like, it can take a whole bunch of stuff off the table that we don't need to do anymore.
Okay.
And we can kind of I like the idea of being like, okay, this is the stuff that the machine can do. So what's human here? You know what I mean? And kind of like distilling that down. I think that'll be more interesting, because right now it's really abstract, you know? Like,
yeah.
Right now, anyway.
No, I think that's an optimistic way of looking at it. I'm not saying it's unrealistic.
No, yeah.
I think it's taking the good things and like, okay, saying, all right, you know, AI can help me send all these emails, so I don't have to send the emails. I can just sit down and work on the music, right? But the reality is that, you know, while AI is doing those emails, then you create some new tasks. I feel like it's a vicious circle in which new tasks pop up, and then you again don't have time, because ultimately I believe if you want to make time for making music, you will make time for making music. Authenticity wise, I see, you know, I mean I could go on about AI.
Yeah. I didn't mean to bring up the Pandora's box.
No, and I think I would love to believe and like agree on you, and I'm not saying that I'm not agreeing. It's just more, I feel like it's quite complex, and I think it's unknown.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's very much unknown.
Absolutely. But then the system thing is like, I'm not really attached to how shit works right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, none of this functions better, and I don't see how that's really going to take away from my pie. And I like the pies that it does take away from. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. No, you said it well.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
A long story short, bottom line is that it doesn't matter what AI does or does not.
Really?
Because if we go back to what you said at the beginning, you know, if you just continue, you know, you think on your feet outside of the system, I mean, it does not affect you. Like, it does not affect the output of your work, you know, your output.
Yeah.
How the work will live in that world, it's not up to you. You can't control it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got really deep into this. I was not expecting it. We're like Tuesday, midday.
Yeah. But it's relevant. I mean, it's crazy how hard it is to talk about some of this stuff, because it's like such a ideologically laced kind of thing, you know? And I think like either you try and have a conversation about it and you're going to hear just like kind of platitudes that's like, oh yeah, I'm against that. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, you're against it, but like, do you see the avalanche? Like, I'm against the avalanche, but it's like, it's going to take us all out. So like, can we have a chat about like how we're going to do, you know? And I just want to make one more thing, and then we can get off this whole AI thing. I always make the comparison, and if you watch, I bet people who see this are going to be like, I've had this conversation with Mladen. I always compare it to like what the camera did to art.
Okay.
Right? So like before the camera, it was like all about realism and defining how do we transfer like God's image onto something that man made. And we're going to get into perspective, we're going to get into human anatomy in the 1800s, like all these things are leading us towards this thing, right? Like the camera becomes commercially viable and popular in the early 20th century, and it's like 10, 20 years before we start getting data, surrealism, you know what I mean? Like abstract art in this way, because what have you done? We don't need to do realism anymore. I feel like I think about music in the same way, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need 95% of trap beats. I'm sorry, but we don't. Like, that was like 10 years ago, you know what I mean? And people you know what I mean, kind of thing. And it's like, or like, okay, this is going to be a bit more controversial maybe, but it's like, there's a demand for punk bands in Melbourne, right? Because people like punk music.
Yeah.
So we've got to like pretend that we reinvented punk literally every 2 years with like a new exact same band. I'm not dissing these people, like, but I'm just saying like, how much of that is art? I don't know. okay, this is. Do you know what I'm trying to say though? This is what I was saying about utilitarian music before. It's like there's like a function that music serves beyond being art in society. We need it for ads. We need it for waiting music. We need it for all kinds of things. And it's kind of like alternative music. I think it's going to make alternative music more interesting.
I agree. I think it is the punk ethos, not punk per se, but the anti-ethos that my not even intentionally but subconsciously I even now see, and it's been months that I hear people that are not necessarily in the arts telling me, oh, there's so much, like, and you heard it, like AI dump, like so much
Slop.
AI dump, slop, so much AI that people are sick of it, and like you can recognize it. It's sort of like it's becoming cringe. Really.
Okay, but like,
but because of that, I think people are starting even not realizing maybe they're not even the art world. They're craving more human connection. They're craving more mistakes.
Yeah. Oh,
they're
absolutely.
Craving something that's more on the border. Right. And that's where I think it's gonna be celebrated, and that's the like good outcome of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And Slop didn't come out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, art was trending towards becoming slop already. AI's just come in to save us from having to debase ourselves from doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
Like,
I have to say this because it is my genuine worry. I just, and then I think it's an important conversation to have. I think it actually is important for everyone. We live in this world. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, everyone has to, but I think it's about education. Like, do you know what is happening? The thing is that not even people developing neural networks.
Exactly.
It's a Pandora box. It's a black box. And I think it's a dangerous weapon. It's already a weapon in some instances. And I think the convenience, the level of convenience where we are right now is so insanely high. We gave up all the privacy already. People are, I'm trying, like going Proton, going just like I'm de-Googling now. I want to de-Google and I'm going to go off Google, blah, blah, blah. I'm literally going into that rabbit hole. But the level of, you really have to take so much time to do it. And that's when you realize how deep you are in the system already. And I mean, I understand that not everyone wants to go down that path.
Of course, yeah.
But I'm just saying that a lot of companies are using your data to, like...
Oh my God, it's insane.
They're weaponizing your data.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sorry, this is not...
No.
That.
This was like my main thing. Like,
it's really important to understand, that with all the clicks, with all the things that are making your daily life easier, like you said, answering email, AI will answer my emails, CSC will answer your emails, but it will also know, tell you where to shop, why to shop, without you asking any questions. And I think asking questions, and I think that's where it's a bit different from the camera. Whereas we don't know what's inside of this camera because they literally don't know. And B, it's like the scope is just a bit abstract, and I think it will always be abstract. And I'm just worried.
Oh, I mean, that's very appropriate.
Yeah, sorry. Now I went like on.
No, you didn't. I mean, like I'm so glad that we're talking about this. This is so much more relevant, to our experience and stuff. But
I always want to, end up on something positive. I think. There's so much bad stuff happening in the world, and I don't want to ignore it. But at the same time, I feel like it's important to see what's in front of you and like be able to know that there are things that you can do, rather than be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, I mean, you have to. So I was saying before, you have to survive. You have to craft your way through this somehow,
So I guess in your case, it's like, release that whatever hasn't been released, you should be releasing that.
I would love to get to a point where I start releasing all of my unfinished albums, because there are so many and they're so good. And
there's a really cool project that Brian Eno made. I forgot the name. There was and I don't know if it's ongoing, but I know how it works and how it worked. they did a radio station, or maybe it was just like an online, where he would just play all the unfinished, never released stuff of his own. So yeah, maybe that's something that you can just like put it out in the air, in the world, you know, like have a site where it's playing on loop, different whatever, and then I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and even look, if future archaeologists managed to uncorrupt my hard drive, you know what I mean? Like that unfinished album is a piece of work in itself.
Yeah, it is.
That says a lot about my probably more than if I went in and finished it in brute force.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that's, yeah, they have a lot of information, like a lot of subtext.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think that's it. Do you want to say anything else?
I had a really good time. I think, yeah, I hope I did well. And
Oh, you did great.
yeah. I'm really excited about the future and how we're dealing with the present and the past. And I think that, you know, everything is transformative at the moment, basically, you know, whether it's going to transform whether we transform it or not, you know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's a really interesting time to be making art, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see what younger people do as well, you know.
And how they see, you know,
Exactly,
especially if you've been born with social media and with phones and now with AI.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you see all of this?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm curious about.
Because we had our foot in the old world.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I was a blog. My nickname was Beatlesica.
Nice.
Because I was obsessed with Beatles.
nice, yeah.
So when you said Beatles, I'm like,
Yeah.
thank you,
Thank
join
you.
me.
Yeah.
This was voila.
Yeah.
Hey. All right.